We have the main man
Yeah.
himself.
Yes.
Hello, Van Dyke. How are you?
I'm on the cutting edge, man, with the young moderns of today.
It's all
I want to
happening
know what
now.
the young people are thinking. Help us out, folks. Help us out. What about old people? Come on.
It's all happening now. It's all happening now. How are you? All good. All good.
Oh, good, really.
That's
Hello,
good.
Veronica.
Hi, dear Van Dyke.
Sometime we'll meet, maybe, okay? It might have to be in Ireland. I don't know where we're
Hey,
going to meet. But
yeah,
next time we meet, let's do 10 songs or 12 songs.
great. That's
We've
what you should.
got it.
Have you got a lot more? Yeah. Have you done a lot more? Yeah.
Well, Veronica has sent me many songs. I would say a score anyway. I would think it's safe to say that I have broken down the string that is string arrangement around her work on a baker's dozen. That means 13, Veronica. It's a generous dozen. Really
Awesome.
wonderful songs. I mean, what draw me to songs is the generally phraseology, like rhythms and the song construction.
Hmm.
And each one of Veronica's songs has its own individual stamp. She continues to try to work with the song form. You can hear that in her work. I mean,
Hmm.
although she's probably not thinking about any of my first world problems when she's doing that.
Well, I love the EP. It was cool. I had to buy it on lovely vinyl. There you go. Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah, it's
We're
beautiful.
so proud of Klaus Vormann for helping us out there. He's in Munich. He is 80. I'm 78, so I'm catching up. But the thing is, to get a guy like that out of bed, he doesn't have to do anything.
Yeah.
He has proven himself to be the most brilliant graphic artist of our popular culture.
Yeah.
So what the hell? We
He
were lucky.
yeah. Didn't he do a lot of the Beatles stuff? He did Revolver and stuff like that, didn't he?
Mhm.
Yeah, amazing cover. Yeah, amazing. I'm
Well,
admire
I don't have the air conditioner on, but is it frying in Veracruz? Are you hot, Veronica?
Please look at me.
I am.
I'm jealous.
Yeah, it's summer down there still.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's winter here. It's like bleak. Bleak but kind of cool. Bleakness can be cool. I like the bad weather. I know that sounds weird, but you know. Do you miss recording on tape?
Of course, absolutely.
Yeah.
I miss the sound of going backward on tape.
Oh
I
yeah,
miss
yeah.
that sound. I miss the physical properties of tape, knowing that you could, for example, do a harp riff, Veronica, with at half the speed, be do do ba da, and then you go do 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 ba ba da ba, and everybody's whoa,
Yeah.
listen to that velocity. But
Yeah.
in fact, but those are wonderful discoveries
Hmm.
of the tape and analog world.
For sure.
The digital world, I think, is like a day without Bach. It's boring.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's cool though. Like, I think incorporating the two worlds is quite good. Like, I buy a lot of outboard gear than I used to. I used to do everything in the box, and now I'm kind of, using outboard distortion and outboard compression and outboard EQ, and just the sound. It just sounds way realer than just a plug-in. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do. We
So,
we uh, we worked hard on this album. We worked hard on this album. By the way, Klaus Vormann, I just want to make sure we know this. Klaus Vormann came up with that title
oh,
when he heard the music in Munich, and he called me. He said, "Only in America." And when he said that, I got his hemispheric embrace. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I wasn't thinking USA, USA. I wasn't thinking any of that. What I was thinking about was that Veronica and I got a record done long distance that really is sin fronteras. It is without borders.
hmm
And that we need to keep working on that.
yeah,
Um, those cultural divides. And of course, there are only two ways that a fool like me can get involved. One, food. Okay? It can be food, and the other is music. And that's the way I learn anything.
Yeah.
That's from Mexico to Seoul, Korea.
Yeah.
It's the same thing to me. Is you have to start somewhere and cross the aisle and let's all grow up now. Let's all get grown up and start thinking multiculturally. So I don't have any embarrassment. I told Veronica, she's been very patient with me because I don't speak Spanish and I have to study very carefully to try to know what she's saying. We write it down and knowing that Veronica could go on stage and has and just entertain for half an hour by herself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like I tell many people, this song doesn't need an arrangement. Veronica's songs don't need arrangements. I saw an opportunity for myself during quarantine. I feel very privileged. This was a eureka moment for me. And dear Veronica, I hope we meet someday, but I think it was for you too, like a gateway.
Absolutely, Van Dyke. I haven't opened my mouth because I'm just like mesmerized. It's amazing to hear you, Van Dyke. Such an inspiration. Like I said from the beginning, it's an inspiration, a human being. I'm not talking about music here. Of course, he's a star and amazing, but as a person, just the privilege to be in touch with such a great person who let himself go out, because we are all amazing, but we sometimes are scared by ourselves. But with Van Dyke, he's beyond that, And I think we have this word, camaradería in Spanish, camaraderie.
Camaraderie. Absolutely. Yeah. That's the thing. We're so into this. This is why we've given this opposing thumb to be able to grasp something, to understand. And what my fear is, it wasn't anything out of sympathy, Paul. I wasn't trying to help Verónica Valerio. When she asked me if I could assist in getting her an album, of course I told her no, because I didn't think that I could. But we worked on it anyway. And the thing is, it just opened up this and strengthened my conviction on 78 that RPM that we need to refresh ourselves, with what is old hat. We have to look at our histories, maintain who we are, who we really are. The trees we've memorized, the birds that may still be here, the butterflies that might have made it for another year in this age of extinction. And Veronica's music to me was like that butterfly corridor. She occupies this place, which is the home of arpistas, of harpists, as important to Mexican culture, that instrument, and as transportive as it is, as the harp is to Ireland. No kidding.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's our unified field, and it's the harp that I didn't tell Veronica this right away, but harp, really interesting. If she played clarinet, I probably would have said, "Get this girl out of my office."
Well, I could sing.
But she can sing. Pardon me. And what a voice! So
beautiful voice.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys. You guys.
You're getting all the compliments here.
I should just get into the water and be just like, yoo-hoo!
So Veronica, what? Yes. I'm sure we've talked about this but what drew you to Van Dyke Park's music?
Like I said, just amazing human being. I'll see posting like just so say that word again,
Camaraderie.
In such a camaraderie
Tell
that I was
me
like,
what did you hear that you liked that I
Yeah.
did?
Musically.
That's what he's trying to find out.
Musically.
oh,
Yes.
musically, I said, yes, Johanna Newsom
Ooh.
arrangement.
Mm.
The one in the back, not her, not the harp, just the thing in the back was like, oh, oh, oh. It's like a book,
Yeah.
like a.
When people
I
had
think
time to read
Louis-
books.
Yeah.
And then I went back, of course, and to look for more. The rabbit thing.
The rabbit hole.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think Veronica just used the word neurotic. What was the word?
I think she was saying rabbit hole. She went down a rabbit
Yeah,
hole.
I went down the wrong road. Well, that's good, but don't forget, they have two holes, each rabbit, and that's for escape.
I like the Caribbean of Van Dyke.
Well,
I like the Caribbean, and that he proposed colors on his arrangements. I could see colors, and that doesn't really happen often. So just discovering that was like opening a door and seeing, like you guys said, the rabbit hole, I guess, or something. It was just something different, something you don't expect to open, and just be like, oh, there is something there.
yeah, I don't think we need to make an apology for the fact that the music itself that you generated is in fact filmic. It has a definite, synesthetic, that is sight and sound kind of suggestiveness. It is picturesque sound.
Yeah.
It's picturesque, and it has environmental feelings, and it's a two-edged sword. It's okay if you're a Beach Boys fan, that's great. If you need four to the floor, if you need to know where the downbeat is, then that's good. Go and listen to those Beach Boys, and about every other first world problem child that I can think of in show business today. But if you don't give a damn about where your next footstep is going to be, and you're just interested in phrases and thoughts, in poetic abandon, and you want music and you want to hear music that is, maybe it doesn't feel immediately danceable, but it has a certain physical persuasion because it's correct. It's got it. You know what I mean? And that's why I liked in the promo video we did, Veronica, called Veracruz, which is on YouTube. You should see it, folks. The fact is, the reason I chose that vignette of Fred Astaire and Eleanor Powell dancing to Begin, when I was thinking about the good life and the Yankees in going south of the border with Latin beats and friendly persuasions, zephyrs they called them in Greece, the southern winds. When Fred Astaire danced with Eleanor and she turned around, I noticed she had a weighted hemline on her skirt. This isn't a long shot, but it made the skirt blossom. This is the attention to detail that you want in your work. Yeah. If you want it to take flight. So hey, Paul, I was a lucky guy to land this here project, wasn't I? Yeah. And this is an introduction to me. We're going to see where it goes. It was my dream that Veronica, who is highly respected in her as is her family, and for their musical involvements and so forth in the locality. But I thought, wouldn't it be great? And although she has taught in was it Berkeley and in a folklore class there and went to China for the same. And she has been beyond the borders and in Louisiana. A great song she's written about Louisiana.
Oh, sweet.
Which captures its wetlands and so forth so beautifully. So the thing is, it's folk music. It has derivative form from another place, and you can tell it is another place whether you're in Ireland or in L.A. You immediately get a sense of place out of this music, and it's all I want to do for the rest of my life. It's all I've really wanted to do all my life, is find something that had a component of a folk idiom. Why? Because I'm an imposter. I'm posing as a musician. I have to work hard for what I do. It's a discipline, to be sure. Blood, sweat, and tears. No kidding. From me and from everybody that loves me. They've been very patient with my modest ability. But what gives me a sense of validity, the thing that gets me out of the parking lot with the pass, is that it has some folk idiomatic historicity, sense of history, sense of what's been happening here. Where are we from? On whose shoulders do we stand? And you get that you get it in simple arpeggiated things. And that's just a lot of baggage. And it becomes a unified field. And one day we shall overcome. One day. And it hasn't happened yet. But everything you do, you want to be an anthem. And listen here. I don't want to embarrass her. She's here in the room. This is how she approached her work. And it was unbruised. And I want to keep it that way and try to serve it. And maybe put her on a different stage, one which has a good string section, a crowd that can sit down and enjoy a multicultural experience with great trust and delight. And I think that the lobby should have a good bar. And hey, and maybe a cameo piano performance from a contra rocker who's seeking the validity of the sense of place that everybody wants. That sense of place. We're not so lucky. No, we're not all so lucky to come from Ireland.
Yeah.
Ireland's got a sense of place. Ain't no two ways about it.
No, we definitely have a history, that's for sure. Definitely got it going on.
And I love it. And I've been places in Ireland. I went to an estate in Ireland with a stage that was too big for me. Just about every stage is. But that was really, and it was in an old estate, and they rented out the estate, and you could see it was one of these old British hangovers.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of them.
With a lot of criminality in it. It's like any Southern plantation. Same guy. Behind every great fortune is a crime.
Oh, for sure.
I assure you.
Oh, for sure.
And that's for rock stars too.
For sure. My great grandfather was dragged by the neck by the Black and Tans. He was dragged down, and he would have been dead. But what happened was, a rock broke the rope, and he kind of fell into a field, and he survived. But he would have been dead.
And you've been into rock ever since.
Yeah. Hey.
So hey, man, what an amazing event!
Kismet right there. It's kismet.
Veronica.
Yeah.
Veronica, these guys speak our language. Isn't that great?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
My first introduction to that business, I'm talking about the challenge of orchestrating folk music. Oh, you can't do that. No, Van Dyke, we don't have trumpets on this piece. I mean, really, folks, come on. My first introduction to this wasn't Aaron Copland. It was
That's an
So
Irish.
that was a tune from County Derry.
Oh, Danny
And
Boy,
it
is
was
it?
and it was bottled and bonded. It was put on music paper by an Australian composer by the name of Percy Grainger. That was in 1910, 1911, I think. Percy Grainger.
Mm-hmm.
That piece was called Oh Danny Boy.
Mm-hmm.
Same piece, folk music. Somebody took the pains to write down the damn thing. Now, in those days, 1910, music sold for 10 cents a copy.
Wow.
5 cents went to the author or authors. 5 cents went to the publisher to be split with the salesman. Check it out. Look at what has happened to our musicians. I hate to bore you, and I hate to bore Veronica, but since I produced this record here, in a way, I made them produce it, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I've got to say, Only in America is our homage, our gift to God. It's our validation, and it's the way we make our living. If anybody has a turntable out there for Pete's sake and some saints that we adore, hie thee to a brick and mortar and get our record called Only in America. It's a fine experience.
For sure. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful record. Isn't that the sad thing, though? I think kids who are growing up, their idea of music is that it is free. They've grown up with this perpetuation that music is free and you listen to it free and you don't buy it. And the idea of buying music to them is like, well, why would I buy music? It's free.
Well, guess what? Guess what, kids? The tail is wagging the dog. Look what you're getting, for Pete's sake. Look what you're getting when politics tells the arts what to do. Look what happens when politics tells the people what to do. Mm-hmm. Because they killed journalism and art. Mm. Because they killed dance and music. Because they don't support the arts. Because the arts are here to inform and enlighten. And inconvenience, yeah, right? So it's not the same feeling to me to hear Danny Boy, which made Percy Grainger a multimillionaire in piano rolls and print music. Something unimaginable today.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing to me. We need to support the arts is my point. And I'll say to this, folks, pipers shouldn't be paid. No, you shouldn't be required to pay the piper to hear him. As a matter of fact, given today's technology, you don't even have to pay the piper. Isn't that great? My oink, they're going to take everything but the squeal when they take me. I am going to continue to protest.
Good man.
This still gives you the option to be decent, to support the arts.
Yeah.
If you don't want to buy this LP to sustain these artists in their effort, maybe think of somebody else. I understand Donald Trump is starting a record label. But follow your heart, because we are at the edge of losing our planet. And now you are what you eat. And I want to tell you something. It's as good as it costs, folks. You get what you pay for. Be careful.
For sure.
So anyway, yeah, we have more songs. Veronica and I worked on a whole bunch more songs, and we didn't get the acreage in vinyl. We didn't get the vinyl we wanted. We wanted an entire album. We're going to get it.
Brilliant.
But in due time.
Yeah.
And like I said, this is my butterfly corridor in an age of rapid extinction. I might have to knock out a spoken word record with Greta Thunberg. I don't know what I'm going to do. But one thing will stay true. In such ugly times, the only true protest is beauty. Check it out.
For sure. For sure.
Okay.
Isn't that the difference though? Like when you put a record on, you kind of feel more invested in it. Like when I put on like a old jazz record or something like that, like I look on the back and I see, okay, Ike Quebec played on this, and then I get his record, and I see Joe Henderson played on that, and I get his record, and I see how it's recorded. With digital music, it's just nothing. It's like McDonald's food.
But that's the same as it is. You see, this was a very challenging record because, in fact, with the string players, I mean, between the first and second violin, doesn't sound like anything to anybody. That sounds like some old dweeb talking about how tough his job is. You know, that's what I'm doing. If there's no eye contact between the first and second violin, it's a problem. Eye contact, that is, horizontal relationships, are very important. Somehow we kept one, didn't we, Veronica?
Yes.
Yeah, we did. We managed to stay in touch the whole time. And I would send her what my suggestions were. And I started out with the program, digital. I use Digital Performer.
Okay.
Believing it ain't how big the gun, it's how good the shot.
That's right.
And it's a very, very fine instrument to me. And it's convertible to standard MIDI, but I don't use slow tools. I didn't go down that path. Everybody did. It became an industry standard, which surprised me. I used to use Sibelius. But then it goes Nexus to Veronica in Mexico, and then she writes back, Van Dyke, that's bad. Don't embarrass me. And then I changed. Like this. Yes, ma'am, because I respect the artist. And this record was so much fun because I got to be Mr. Nowhere Man, which is exactly what God made for me.
Yeah, yeah.
I got to serve somebody, do something that will help celebrate a sense of place and its culture. Why should that matter to us? Why don't we just go to Pixel Pictures? Why don't we want a laugh track all the time? Well, folks, because that's suicidal. The idea is to find the variety of life and its expression and leave those options for those that will follow. I want to see Veronica continue her work. I don't want her to think it's a one-night stand or whatever it is. She has so much to do and has shown herself by the people who relate to her and that area. You know.
Why did you choose Vera Cruz as the first single? What was the?
Well, Veronica just wanted me to make sure I knew about a Rumbada, which was an amazing event where some Cubans went with band members with a what's this say here? This meeting has been upgraded. Well, that's good. It was with my language, I guess. Then the Cuban musicians came in the 30s from Havana to the Monterey Peninsula, and there they dominated with a kind of like the good life, the high life of great dance band music, big band music. I mean, très sophistiqué, really fine, pre-Benny Moré, but real big, ambitious music and anyway, we thought because of the celebration, and so I went and I looked at the tune, and it's not the only tune by the title of Vera Cruz, but Veronica suggested I look at it, and as with so much she showed me, and I thought it was terrific because she didn't write it, and it showed how modest she was being in trying to develop an album which would appeal. 2, it's the anchorage of history, and that history is Agustin, Augustin, Lara, Lara, the great songwriter who wrote so many wonderful boleros and things that are so popular. And just incredible writer. And this would be an example. And so it would show a signature piece And so that if there anybody had any doubt that this artist, Veronica Valerio, was from Veracruz or had any sense of place, this would put that to bed. And it is a song which was written, I think, in 1934. So to me, that's roots.
Yeah, yeah.
In today's on-demand, what's new culture.
Yeah. Well, the spirit.
I thought, oh man, and I thought that was rude. And I hadn't had such a joy since I worked on Ry Cooder's first album, which was really bringing rustic stuff into the proscenium.
Yeah.
Write it down so that it can go onto a stage. You don't if it ain't on the page, it ain't on the stage.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Is the album going to be like more of a? Is there a concept to the album? I'm sure Veronica could say that. Have you any concept for that, or is it just like individual songs you're writing? Is there a structure that's like a story almost?
That's Veronica.
That's for you, Veronica, my dear.
Yeah. Like Van Dyke said, I would love more songs. I throw a bunch that to me that they were related specifically to the environment I'm surrounded by.
Mm-hmm.
The coast, the palm trees, the sea, the rights. I'm mistranslating this.
Yeah.
I see
What?
ritos.
Rituals.
Ritual. Thank you.
There we go.
Yeah. So I would.
One song, that song where she was inspired by the shape of a coffee table.
Lovely.
And really, and went in and
yeah, that's true.
went, wow, man, I'm sorry. And I thought, that
I
heard stuff from Bob Dylan. I heard some stuff from Bob Dylan, and he seemed to have been overserved.
Oh.
But Veronica has not decided. She decided that she wouldn't get into like she hasn't smoked marijuana. This girl is just as straight as an arrow. It's just too dangerous. You can't mess with this because it is a sense of phantasm and in a fantastic world in which she lives, and it's true.
Yeah,
the world that is a different world. And I just had a friend come up from Brazil, a musician, and we had breakfast the other day. He came up from Brazil, and all of a sudden he was talking about sapotes, the underground water channels.
Okay.
What do they call? What do they call?
Cenotes?
Cenotes.
Cenotes.
Yeah, cenotes. Because of this incredible spongiform surface from the impact of the comet that ended the Jurassic Age and gave us the Ice Age.
Oh, yeah.
That darkened the Earth and fossilized every crawling reptile on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the Big Bang was. You get that, then you get the Mayan culture, you get the influx, and you get the ultimate tragedy of the European engagement, and all of this stuff, and then you get the music, the triumph of the music.
So yes, Paul, that was the concept. The concept is the surrounding. Talk about what it's there, what it's you, what it's. It could be many songs. It could be just this four. It could be more coming because it has no end.
Mm-hmm.
No, excuse me. I just want to say, look, I work my you-know-what off doing some very disciplined work at a time of great peril.
Mm.
I am not going to have these arrangements unheard.
Mm-hmm.
That would be stupid. I don't need to erase me. Spotify can do that.
Oh, they can.
I have another goal, and that is to participate in music that should be permanent in our cultural engagement, in the browning of America, the cultural transformation of America. We just this morning learned that we get to keep our governor. We were threatened to be governed by a man who is an ape replica of Donald Trump. The planet's on fire. All enlightened people need to engage in the arts. We must give tribute to them. It is important that we do so, and I mean that. And that's why I keep my gratis bands in the most, what do they call it? What is the word for generalized, ecumenical? There's a word for it. Broad, generic pool. I have stations dedicated just to Latin America.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them, it's just always ausverkauft, sold out. But every now and again, there's a rusty nail that's sticking out, that whoa, that holds on to something that's real.
Yeah,
like a real rhythm, not one that was made up by the late lamented Charlie Watts or anybody else with a dim view of rhythm. Real rhythms. And when you see a real rhythm evolve from the Ibu or Mantu, from Africa, across the currents to the West Indies and beyond, from Cuba to Veracruz and emerge, man, you are beyond your time.
Yeah.
You get intimations of immortality, music that matters, something legitimate has happened. So
that's the good thing. Sorry, that's the good thing about music, isn't it? Though, I always think good music transports you somewhere. You always get transported. It's like that's why a lot of people in prison read books, because they almost can escape in their mind through the books. And I think good music, it transports you to another. I'm not going to say a world, but it is a world. It's a little world, an ecosystem of world you've created in your own brain. And I always think good music always does that. Like when I first heard your record, it just reminded me of kind of like a 30s, 40s kind of vibe. Not that it sounds like that, but just that's the vibe I got in my head. That kind of, that I seen stuff on TV of South America and stuff like that.
But I think that's what's good is always to try to avoid being dated. Who wants to be known as Disco King these days? I mean, there are certain things you just don't want to hold on. You want some of your, like I listened to Orange Great Art, one of the records I did with Brian Wilson and beyond, and I just said, why did I use that electronic piano that was that particular Roland, which sounds, you just turn it on and you're 5 seconds in and you know that it's 1990.
Yes.
So you try, the way to avoid that is using timeless forms. And there comes a time in evolution when vintage becomes antique and antique becomes folklore. So I'm not scared. I like to fuck with a formula. I like to write, but mostly the reason for this project, only in America with Verónica Valerio on this German label, which yes, people should buy it. No kidding.
For sure.
I will not equivocate on that.
For sure.
Listen here. I have two things to do, because I should go. Verónica, I love you so much. Thank you for this. Trust. Ready? And the first thing is this record matters to me. So I always study. It was like when I went to Alan Toussaint to sign him to Warner Brothers. And Alan Toussaint, the great composer from New Orleans. And I gave him a pencil sharpener just to kind of like speed the plow. Because we gave him a lot of money, and it was a year in. I wanted the album. And I went up to his studio on Clemata Street, New Orleans. I said, this pencil sharpener, and he opened the box, and he looked at it very sweetly. He gave it back to me. He said, Van Dyke, that's all right. You keep it. I use a Bic. Now,
Oh,
so very sweet man. But you see, in studying him or anybody, I get what he said to be true. He said, but it's not for us. We're doing it for them. That's why we're doing this, right? Just right as rain. What we just did wasn't really for us. Our real joy, and there's no lying about it, is in the contentment of having done it and the hope that we can perform it, which will take, of course, some sales of records and so forth, and that little problem babies of the first world don't have to think about. The little babies that just don't want to pay for music.
Yeah.
Because pablum tastes better. So the kids that want the soft stuff free. The junk food enthusiasts. Now on demand. With a shuffle mentality. It's gotta stop. I'm going to bring Greta Thunberg in here yet if I have to. But I want to tell you about making the right decision in life. Things that are small. How about supremely small importance, like a record album? I just think back to the time when I was about 6 years old. I had 3 older brothers. I was in Mississippi. We were in the kitchen, which is where the family stays. My mother was fixing something. There may have been ham. It was the cheapest meat after the war. And my 3 elder brothers and me were all preparing the meal. And Mr. Wells walked in. Mr. Wells came through the screen door, and it slammed, and he had a glass that had ice in it, which you could hear. Very expensive ice. And Mr. Wells was reeling, and he said, Mary Joy, he said to my mother, Mary Joy, we just burned a cross on Mrs. Goldstein's lawn. And my mother whipped around, and she said, get out of this house and never return.
Yeah.
About 2 years ago, my next oldest brother, who died last year, he was a retired minister. He wrote to me, he said, do you remember that story about our mother telling Mr. Wells to get out of the house? I said, yes. He said, it did not escape our mother's attention that Mr. Wells was the president of the bank and held the mortgage on our house. What I'm saying to you is that my mother didn't equivocate. She didn't wait for justice. She made justice in her time. We're in an age of I don't know. Mask, no mask, cool, uncool. Get out of town. Get out of the way, as Bob Dylan said. Don't stand in the doorway. Get out of the way. If you can't, lend a hand. Because the times are changing, and I'm embarrassed to say, embarrassed not for artists, but for those who prey on them. Get the clue. It's time to be decent. And do you have a right to not wear a mask? Yes. And guess what you'll do? Kill us all. So let's grow up. Now, that was one thing I wanted to get out of the way. Doing the right thing now. And I'm serious about that Greta Thunberg thing. We need every child to help us escape these acts of man. The other thing I want to know about you, Paul Manna, who is so really sweet to call Veronica and me and support our effort.
Oh man, it's an honor.
We want to know what you do, and will you send us some of your music?
I will. I've said Veronica's heard a lot of it.
Okay, you send me a piece. I don't listen to much, and I'll tell you why. Because I am so past my promised deadlines.
Yes.
I'm still working every day.
Oh, well, I'm finishing up 2 albums at the moment, so I'm knee deep in it. But I'll send you my first record. I'll send you that.
Sounds good. Listen, and you can, if you email me a prompt, I'll give you my address, or you do whatever, however it's done.
Oh yeah, I can send you a CD if you want, or it's probably.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Oh man, that'd be epic if you could.
I can play that in the car.
Okay, good. It's based around synesthesia. I've synesthesia, so it's called Hold On to the Colors. So that's why
It's called what?
Hold On to the Colors. So
Oh, wow.
it's based. I have synesthesia, so that's why I did it like that. So it's like,
You know what I liked about Veronica's record when she did Guacamaya was when she saw this flash of color go across her black and white world.
Sweet.
Isn't it great?
Sweet.
See?
That's what I used to love about your. That's what drew me to your music when I first heard it. It was like great colors. I was like, whoa.
Man, I surround myself with superior talents all the time, and this is a case in point. You're it, Paul. You've got a heart of gold, man.
Oh man, it's great to talk to you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'll definitely.
Veronica, I'm leaving you just for now. You're not getting rid of me.
That was cool. Wow.
Yeah.
That was cool. What a cool guy. Yeah. Right, my dear. It's always good to see you. Tell everyone I said your family. Say hello to your mother, your partner. Hello, bye. Right, my dear. Take care. Thanks very much. Have a nice day. We'll do this again. Sure.